And now, independent and unbiased, here's your weekly Brooklyn market update with Noah and John from UrbanDigs.
Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are from UrbanDigs. And it is Monday, so you're going to get your Brooklyn weekly market update. John, let's get right to it. I'm looking at supply. Looks kind of flat, 2,899 things. It certainly doesn't look like it's soaring up in the new listing season. Johnny, show me that chart.
I mean, you hit the high notes there, looking flat, not soaring up. I mean, you look at where supply is compared to where it was in 2021, 2022, and Brooklyn supply remains lower than both of those years. Yes, there appears to be a bit of an uptrend, but no, it is slight.
Yeah, it's not what we're looking for, but it's early. It's early. We're going to give it the benefit of time and the doubt. We got February, March, and April coming up. That's where all the meat happens. We'll see what's going on. Let's shift over to Brooklyn demand, pending sales, right on the button at 1,500. Johnny, show me that chart.
Yeah, and unlike, we looked at that supply chart a second ago. I mean, unlike the supply chart in which this year's values are just below last year's and the year before, the current values in demand are far below. We're looking 40% or so below where we were at this point last year. So, Brooklyn was really blowing its roof off for quite a while, and that fire seems to have been more or less contained. We're down to one alarm here, Noah.
Yeah. And you know what? I like to look at the market pulse. I like to look at supply and demand together in regards to Brooklyn. And, I'm looking at this, John, and, it's in this area here. It had a shift down. Clearly, that was the shift. We found our way, and, it's kind of down there. I do see it ticking up in this ever little tiny way, and I do know what lies ahead. It's the active season, so chances are this is going to bounce back. But what I really want to know is, where is this going to bounce back to? Is it going to break that kind of trend line that's been going down and pop out of this thing and start to do its own thing? Or is it just going to be stuck in a range? So that's something I'm looking at in Brooklyn. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the weeklies, John. I'm looking at supply. 119 things came on. You're right. That is down. Johnny, show me that chart.
Yeah, it's down. It's not even close to where it was last year. That's what's surprising. Last year was nearly 38% higher than what this number is. So on a weekly level, the supply in Brooklyn, it's pretty anemic here. So it'd be nice for Brooklyn to put some more. If you're listening, Brooklyn, it would be nice to get some more listings on the market. That could help out here.
Yeah, it's vexing. I've been waiting to use that word, John. It's vexing. I mean, Brooklyn sellers, hello. Are you listening to this? I mean, your optimal time to list is right before your peak activity season, which is March, April, and May. You know what I'm saying? In June, it's still good, but it's starting to come down. So, listing in February is kind of like you're poised to list. So this is the next couple of weeks. That's your optimal time to list, Johnny. And, let's go to demand. Let's see what's going on there. Is that ticking up? Contract signed, 87 things on the weekly pace, up about 20%. Johnny, show me that chart.
It is up, 20%. However, when you're dealing with numbers this small, that percentage number doesn't mean a whole lot. So yeah, they're up 20%, but they're really, it's 80 something, 87 contracts were signed last week. So really you look at the broad view of Brooklyn's demand on a weekly level, and it is low. I mean, I think we crossed 100 in 1 week or so so far this year. We're well below where we were the last couple of years. And, kind of begs the question, which you were asking when we were talking about the overall demand picture. What is it going to look like going forward? I mean, are we at the new sort of lower level that's just going to keep on going sideways from here?
Yeah, and that's kind of what the worry is, right, Johnny? I mean, we're going to look at this number right over here on a weekly basis, and we know it's supposed to be up at this higher level. It's not. It's kind of at this lower level instead. So we're below where we really should be, given these weekly trends. You're right. It's anemic, and it's an illiquid market. I mean, the thing that's supporting is that inventory is not really soaring or anything. There's not an influx of panic and fear, as far as I could tell. And it's early. This is when the deals start to happen. So I'm curious what's going to happen. Supply is not coming on. That's just so strange. Let's shift over to the chart du jour, Johnny. This is really interesting. Why don't you tell our users what we're looking at here? But basically, you're breaking Brooklyn down into our own little categories. and taking a look at price action. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, we're basically looking at the townhouse section, and we're looking at it by what we're calling super hoods in Brooklyn, right? You have these amalgamations of smaller neighborhoods. So, Brownstone West, you're talking like, Brooklyn Heights, Cobble Hill, et cetera. So you got these groupings of neighborhoods, and we're kind of looking at how the townhouses have done. And you can kind of see that there's a very slight increase in every single category except for the first one I mentioned, Brownstone West, has kind of ticked down about 5% or so from last year. This is again based on sale date. But it's you go in, and the next chart we're going to talk about is about sales volume. But despite everything that we just talked about in the Brooklyn market, where the demand is really anemic and down, you look at these townhouses, which really were part of the backbone of Brooklyn's rise post COVID, and even post 2014. There seems to be a stable up pattern here, Noah. So it's way too soon to tell what's going to happen in 2023, obviously. But the gains that these townhouses have seen seem to be sort of set.
Yeah, and let's look. You got pandemic blue 2020, you got recovery red, right, 21, and then you got shift in that orange yellow, whatever that is, shift 2020. So you got the pandemic, you got the recovery, and then you got the shift year. Right. We don't quite have 2023, which is going to reveal the depth and the duration of the shift. So like you said, Brownstone West was the only one that kind of went down. Everything else is kind of still showing that upward momentum from the recovery years. And like you said, we switch over to the volume chart, and that's what's really, we'll get rid of my thing here, switch over to the volume chart. And that's what's really showing which neighborhoods are outperforming, or may not be as illiquid as others. As you get Northern Brooklyn is still showing year-over-year growth in terms of sales volume, while Brownstone East and Southeast Brooklyn is leading the way on the lower side here, Johnny.
Right. And that's going to be key going forward, because a lot of times, volume will drive that price. So when you're seeing those increases in volumes in the Northern Brooklyns, the Williamsburg, the Greenpoints, also the Brownstone West, again, we did see a bit of a decline there. The question then becomes, all right, well, we're looking at Southern Brooklyn, Southwestern Brooklyn, Southeastern Brooklyn. How are these going to hold up when that sort of realization of lower volume sets in?
Yeah, and these are townhouses. Right, townhouse chart du jour. And this is sales volume, so it is a bit lagging. We didn't take a pending sales look at it or a pulse look at it. Maybe next time for townhouses, we will revisit this and take a look on that front. But Johnny, this is really enlightening information. It's always good to see your charts on Brooklyn. That is John Walkup. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We're both from UrbanDigs. Don't forget, you guys got questions, we got answered. Please visit our forum right down over here. And if you want any of the reports that John whipped up today, they'll be right over here in just a few moments. And by the way, premium subscribers, I just put out this piece in the buy zone right now today. If you subscribe, go and get it, read it, and let your buyers know. Other than that, this has been your Brooklyn Weekly Market Update, and we'll catch you next time.